Good evening, guys. This evening I thought I would go over a story for Maundy Thursday. The church is going to have an online service this evening at 7 o'clock. So I thought I would do the kids service and post it on our YouTube channel for the kids to watch. We all know today's Maundy Thursday. This is the day that Jesus had his last supper with his disciples before he was crucified. But before that meal, Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. By performing this lowly act, Jesus demonstrated how Christians are to love one another through this humble service, which we've talked about in our Rock Solid group. During the Passover meal, Jesus took bread and wine. He asked God to bless it. He broke the bread into pieces, then gave it to his disciples, and he said, "This is my body, which is given to you. Do this in remembrance of me." Then he took the cup of wine, shared it with his disciples, and said, "This is the cup which is poured for you. It's new covenant in my blood." So at church, we normally get to celebrate this through communion, but that's just the main part of our Maundy Thursday is that the Last Supper that he had with his disciples and why we take communion and the meaning behind it. So at the Last Supper, Matthew 26, verses 17 through 30, Jesus' disciples asked Jesus where he wanted them to make the Passover meal. Jesus said, "Go into the city and find a man. Tell him that my time is near and that we are going to celebrate Passover at his house." The disciples did just as they were told. That evening, Jesus and the disciples shared the Passover meal together. While they were eating, Jesus said, "One of you will let me down." All of the disciples were sad and asked Jesus if they were the one that were going to betray him. But Jesus knew that it would be Judas. While they ate, Jesus took the bread. He blessed it. He broke it and gave it to his disciples. He said, "Take and eat. This is my body." Jesus took the cup, gave thanks, and gave it to the disciples, saying, "Drink. This is the cup of a new covenant." After the meal, Jesus and his disciples sang songs of praise. Then they walked to the Mount of Olives. So have you all ever had a special dinner with your family? Maybe you have an Easter dinner or a Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner. This was a time for Jesus to celebrate with his disciples, to get together with them one more time, to kind of let them know what he wanted to be done after he was crucified. So when Jesus and his friends, the disciples, go to the Mount of Olives, Jesus looked at Peter, one of his best friends. Jesus said, "Peter, before the rooster crows tonight, you will tell people you don't know me 3 times. Peter was shocked. "I would never deny knowing you, Jesus." Jesus and the disciples kept walking on to the Mount of Olives until they came to the garden. Jesus said, "Please stay here while I go pray." Jesus and Peter walked further in. Jesus began to feel sad and worried. Jesus said to his 3 friends, "I am very sad. It is as if I'm dying. Please stay here while I pray. Please keep watch." Jesus walked a little farther into the garden. He fell on his face and he prayed, "Father, please take away my pain if you can. If you can't, I will do what you want and not what I want." Jesus walked back to his friends. They were asleep. Jesus said to Peter, "Couldn't you stay awake while I prayed? Stay awake while I pray some more." Jesus went to pray again, saying, "Father, please take away my pain if you can. Let it be what you want." Again, Jesus walked back to his friends to find them asleep. So he went back to praying. Jesus went to pray again, saying, "Father, please take away my pain if you can." Then he came back to his disciples and said, "Will you sleep all night? It's time for my rest. Get up, my betrayer is here." Judas and a crowd of people walked towards Jesus. Judas kissed Jesus on the cheek. The crowd arrested Jesus, and the disciples ran away. The crowd took Jesus to the highest priest. Peter sneaked along, following Jesus to the courtyard of the high priest. So Jesus was scared. So he prayed to God to help him. what do you all do when you get scared? I know the first thing I do is I pray. I pray to God to give me strength, maybe to help through whatever I'm scared about. But that was just a little bit of the background behind today and why today is so important to us as Christians. So tomorrow I will get back on our YouTube channel and we will go over Good Friday and the events of tomorrow. And then I will be back with you all on Sunday to celebrate his resurrection. I hope you all are having a good evening, and maybe you can take the opportunity to sit down and have a nice supper with your all's family and just kind of celebrate the life of Jesus. We'll see you tomorrow.